This episode is brought to you by our friends at Willow Window, your go-to experts for replacement windows, window treatments, and doors. They don't just install, they elevate. With a focus on honesty, professionalism, and top-tier quality, their team is committed to making your home more beautiful than ever. From clean job sites to precision craftsmanship, they treat your home like it's their own. Looking for a transformation you can trust? Visit www.willowwindow.pro and see the difference that true care makes. Welcome to the Runner Dudes podcast. Everyone is welcome. Runners are welcome. Walkers are welcome. The running curious are welcome. We're going to widen the door to running and soften the impact for anyone willing to lace up and show up. Today can be the day you take the first steps towards physical, mental, and spiritual well-being and become the person you are intended to be. We hope to inform, inspire, listen, learn, and help you start your own running journey, all while being moderately funny and low-key entertaining. Let's go, baby. Believe it or not, Allison, this whole time we've been recording.
Okay, awesome.
This is what we like to call content.
I love that.
Easy in.
Yeah, and so, yeah, that's right. So here we are back at the podcast.
Yeah, another episode.
Runner Dudes in the Willow Window Studio.
Yeah, always got to say thank you to those guys. Mm-hmm.
And today we have a guest, Alison Mason. What's
Welcome.
Hi.
up? How are you?
Hi.
Don't be nervous because nobody's listening. And nobody's tuning in except for CG.
It's very formal.
Yes, I can tell.
Yes,
I wear the same clothes every time we
actually me and Dusty live here, and so John's
Crawl
trying
out from under the desk.
John's trying to evict us, but good luck, John.
Yep.
We're staying. Let's see. What do we do? What's always the first thing we do?
always the question.
Oh yeah, we got a question. Got a question to Dusty. Let's see here. Let's see. Since you today are recording with two local running celebrities, okay, what is the coolest celebrity encounter you've ever had?
All the overall mugs here. Did you not bring any of your mugs?
I did.
We'll get to
There
that.
it is.
There's one, two.
Two.
Hang on. Anybody who's actually watching? Three.
Oh my goodness.
Hang on.
Okay.
There's four. Five. They don't just give these babies out to anybody. Allison, where's yours at?
I think is it one of these? Did I set it right there?
No, these are all mine. Don't
Okay.
touch my mugs.
Mine's over there in the
She
chair.
didn't bring hers over. It's
She
right
bring
there.
hers
Sorry.
over there. So
Oh, well.
Allison is also, we'll get to that in a minute, but she's a Upper Cumberland Haunted Half champion as well. That's the reason we're talking about we got two local celebrities. She's famous, I'm famous, no big deal.
Celebrity encounter. So, I had came back from deployment in Iraq. My uncle, Jeff Huddleston, he was a firefighter in Franklin. He was also ticket holder for the Titans for a long, long time. He'd gotten his tickets. He took me to the game. So we got passes to go down and meet the entire 2003 Titans team, which was, when the Titans were solid back then. So got to meet a lot of those cool people. I actually got to go to one of them's house, kind of have some dinner.
Really?
Do some things and meet them. So that was pretty cool. I had no idea that it was going to happen. So that was pretty neat. So getting to meet, that
Tennessee?
was Javon Curse. That was
The
that
freak.
was McNair. That was all of them. Didn't get to meet him personally. Did get to see him, cross paths with him there in the locker room in the tunnel. He's too high
Unbelievable.
profile.
Very cool.
But a lot of other local people there that we actually were tailgating with their families beforehand was pretty neat to get to meet their families and stuff too. Benji Olson, Zach Pillar. Those guys were really, really cool guys. But yeah, that was pretty.
That's awesome.
I guess that's
back when the Titans were Titans.
Yeah, they were legit then.
I don't know what they got going on now. Do we want to just change the podcast today?
I
Just
don't
talk
even
about
know,
how
man.
terrible the Titans are.
Titans.
Roast. It says, welcome to
If we could
Dusty,
take live
Allison, and
calls,
Michael.
we might get some nasty calls in right now. I'm
But
not sure.
Cam Ward. I
Cam-
think
yeah,
Cam
Cam
Ward's
Ward.
going to be a dude.
You might turn it around.
Yeah. The Titans, man, that team, gosh, man. Javon Curse.
Yeah, that
And,
was Eddie George.
Man.
That was some
Hall of Famers.
Kevin Dyson, Frank
Yes.
Wycheck.
Music City Miracle.
Passed away now, but yeah, man, Frank White. He was a really cool. He was a really nice guy. Benji Olson was super nice.
Very cool.
About a 360-pound center.
Yeah.
Good guys.
Allison, any fun encounters with celebrities? Have you met somebody? Have you had any bump ins with anybody famous? Put you on the spot here.
I mean, I don't know that a lot of people would think of her as famous, but I did get to meet Shamiqua Holsclaw at
famous.
a Lady Vols game one time. My dad took me on a school night and was very kind and let me stay after to try to meet her and got her autograph. And that was just like one of the highlights of my life. That's why you take your dad and not your mom, because mom would not have stayed for that, but my dad did. So,
Dad gets it.
yeah.
This was when, I'm sorry, when she was playing with the Vols?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking.
She was my celebrity. Oh, I was in middle school, so.
My grandfather took me to watch them play in the tournament. They were at Vanderbilt playing UNC, and they were down like 20 points at one time, and they come back and won that game. And that's when they had all the Meeks. Mm-hmm. And that team was like next level. And so, yeah, she definitely qualifies as celebrity. I waited on Cheeseburger Phil at Applebee's. Phil Fulmer.
Yeah, Fulmer.
Phil Fulmer was in Applebee's, and this was when this was like in the early 2000s, and I nearly like fainted right at this time because they had just come off a national. It was not long after they'd won a national title.
Reservation at Applebee's with your boys.
Listen, he came in, I was just like, I couldn't even speak, bro. Like, it was just like he had an aura about him, like a cheeseburger aura about him. And so, and he was very polite. He was in town. His daughter was playing in a softball tournament. And this is when he was at the apex of his celebrity. And of course, everybody in the restaurant's harassing him.
Speaking of him, he was just in Cookeville, I think, for like an FCA.
Yeah, my parents.
Oh,
went to
yes.
Yes,
That's right.
The keynote speaker there for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Great guy. Very nice guy, very humble.
that. Big celeb.
Yeah, big celeb. I also got to meet Eric Berry. He brought his car. He got it serviced at the shop that I worked at in Knoxville. This was his junior year, right before he went pro, and I told him what a big fan I was. When he left, he came back to pick his car up and had brought me like a little helmet and signed it for me.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember thinking, I was like, dude, I don't care. I said, I'm going to be a fan of yours anywhere you go anyway. I said, but now because you did this, even if you get drafted by Dallas, I'll still be a fan of you.
He'll be a fan.
Regardless, this has cemented you as like the most famous or my most favorite Tennessee Vol.
This might not be very famous, but I do remember one when Merrick, it was on Father's Day, we went to the Braves game and got him you can buy the tickets to where they can run the bases after the game.
That's
and
cool.
I think I had more fun than him because you get that. I was running like I was, trying to run the ball out. That was pretty cool.
Good time.
And you get to kind of pass around. You pass some players around. That was pretty cool too.
Cool. All right. So now to the celebrities that we actually have in the room.
In the room too.
We have 5-time Upper Cumberland Haunted Half, and we have.
Here,
how many
man.
times have you won it?
2 at this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2
Oh,
haunted
2
houses.
at this one.
Yeah.
So
I've done Viola Valley, and I was first female at that one, but that was a few years ago.
So you've got three big wins, but I'm sure when you at 5Ks you always win the female, right?
Been a minute since I've done a 5K, but maybe.
That's a conversation. How terrible 5Ks are.
The worst. Not my race choice, that's for sure.
I think we get into oftentimes talking about running, and I think in the last several episodes we've talked a lot about marathoning and half marathoning. But once you do take that step into halves and fulls, 5Ks kind of low key suck,
For real.
right?
Yeah. You don't pace yourself on a 5K.
I do think she might be a good candidate for a chaser.
Oh, we got a possible chaser,
I think
celebrity
it might be.
chaser.
Just gonna put that out there for Chad and for Jeff there.
Chad and Jeff El Puente, they had their chase race, so you are definitely chaser material.
Okay.
And we'll let them know all about the credentials. So you
That's
can,
all you need
Just
for your
show 'em the
resume
mug.
right there.
yeah, you
That's
could
all
put
they
your
need to know.
Keep my mug handy.
You just put me down as a reference.
You don't need a passport either to travel internationally.
I love that.
You
Here's
just
my
say,
mug.
hey, look at this.
Hey, here's my mug.
I'm not going to get that ID we have to have now to fly. I'm just going to take this and then get immediately arrested.
Yeah.
Immediately arrested.
What's gonna happen?
All right. Reel it in.
Yeah.
So introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and just tell us all the things.
Okay, so I'm Alison Mason. I'm married to Luke. We've been married 16 years
Let's go.
in a few weeks. So, yeah.
So you just recently had a anniversary?
No, in a few weeks.
Oh, in a few weeks.
23rd of May.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Early.
16 years.
I think it'll probably be, we'll be releasing this episode. So
Might be
let's pretend
pretty
like it's already your
close.
anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Maybe it'll be on your anniversary.
Yes. What a gift. What a gift for Luke to get to hear me talk.
Yes, that's right.
Sure, she was
Every
trying to
time.
be funny about that or not.
Strap in.
Did you just burn us? Did we get roasted?
Man, I
No,
think
I'm
so.
not. I'm
I
saying
think
what a
so.
gift
This
to
is
Luke.
listened to by
to listen to
tens
me
of
talk.
people.
Literally tens of people just heard you roast us. Continue.
They're not happy.
You know what? We're done here. Give me your mic. No, continue.
Okay, so I do want to throw this out there also. I know Luke and I know Dusty really well because this is, I don't want to make this sappy and I'm going to try not to get teared up. But Dusty and I and Luke go way back because we had a child that died after he lived for 18 minutes. His name was Gabe. And Dusty was working at the funeral home when we had to pick out our tombstone for him. And so we went in and met with Dusty, and he made one of the hardest things that we've ever had to do, just the easiest and most seamless thing. He helped us pick out the most beautiful headstone for him, and got his little handprints and feet prints on it and stuff. And he was so kind. And I'll always look at, and Mandy, his wife's precious too. They're just sweet. And so, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out
Wow.
there. That's how we go way back with Dusty.
Thank you for sharing that,
Oh.
first of all. And like Dusty, I mean,
Prepare for that.
No.
I'm sorry.
goodness
Nice to
gracious.
know those actions matter.
Oh, for sure.
It has a ripple effect for a long time.
Yeah.
We'll never forget that.
And, when I first met you, Dusty, like, it was like, this is a good dude. And then to hear, I found out that he was in the military on the podcast while we were recording.
Oh, okay.
And so found out that he's an actual American hero. And then all of my funny stories seemed more ridiculous at that point. And so then to hear this and what an actual incredible human he is, because I knew he was, and it's just really just to reinforce what a good dude you are. Dusty,
Appreciate
Good
that.
guy.
love you, bro.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate you. And appreciate you sharing that.
Today's episode is sponsored by Express Footwear, the healthy feet store that's all about the perfect fit. Whether you're hitting the trails, pounding the pavement, or just looking for all-day comfort, Express Footwear has you covered with a great selection of athletic shoes, walking shoes, hiking boots, and even recovery sandals. They don't just sell shoes, they help you find the right shoes for your feet. Visit Express Footwear and step into comfort's day. You can find them online at express-footwear-running.square.site.
Now, to get into, you said you have how many children?
4.
You have 4 kids.
4 kids.
Wow, big family.
Big fam. Yep.
How do you find time to run?
Well, I recently have been doing a boot camp to try to motivate myself to. I've been doing it for 5 weeks, where I get up on Tuesday and Thursday mornings and go at 5:30.
Wow.
And I don't run the whole time; it's boot camp style. But anyway, if I don't get up early, it typically doesn't happen unless Luke gets home early from the farm, and sometimes he'll let me go run and he'll watch the kids in the late afternoon or something. But mornings, the best hour. It just sometimes doesn't happen. I really like my sleep. I'm not a morning person.
Thank you. Let's
So,
go. Right. I know.
unfortunately,
I know.
I used to roll with Travis and that group a little bit, but as their time started getting earlier, I just couldn't do it. I
Hey,
couldn't hang.
listen, I had to jump off that. I had to jump off that ship too, man. When it started getting down in the
Woo!
fours, I'm like,
No. That means
Sorry,
you got to
guys.
get up at
Yeah.
4 or 3 something. Yeah.
When the alarm has to start going off at
Yeah.
sub 4, I'm out.
Can't do it.
I like
cannot
to
do
have
it.
some time to prepare.
Yeah. You need to give me about a month to really get mentally and spiritually fit enough to like
Get
do a
locked in.
3:30 a.m.
It's true.
And I've done it. But when did you run as a child? Did you run in grade school, high school? When did you start running?
So I played volleyball and basketball at Livingston in high school, and in the off season, after I'd played those sports, one of the track coaches, it was Merle Smith, he asked me if I would ever consider track, and I thought, well, it might be something fun to do, keep me in shape in the off season, and so I started running. I think I was either a sophomore or junior when I started running track, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I ran the 100, 200, and 400. And also attempted the long jump, but if you've ever seen me jump, it's not a good thing. That was not my area in the track. But anyway, so I did that, and then I just really enjoyed running after that. I ran in the summer just because, and so, yeah, that's kind of where it started.
And then you just continued through high school into your 20s. Just you ran recreationally, even in your 20s.
So I played basketball at Cumberland University. I got
Okay.
a scholarship to play there, and I played there for 1 year. And also we did, training, preseason and all that. And I found out pretty quickly you can't eat Taco Bell at midnight and
What?
not put on the freshman 15. So I gained a quick 15 pounds in a few months after starting at Cumberland. And I thought, this conditioning just isn't cutting it. I got to add some extra cardio in. So I ran a lot there and ran some local races. That's actually how Luke and I met. We knew each other, grew up in the same town, always knew of each other, but met at the Tata Trot. If y'all remember that for the breast cancer.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
And I thought you were going to get down the road. We were talking bad about Taco Bell and how you can't eat Taco Bell and run. I was like, you have no idea what I'm capable
Definitely.
of.
Oh, I know your diet.
Okay.
I've listened to this podcast a few times. I know you don't.
I
eat the Taco Bell.
I just had the number 7, the quesadilla in the box.
It's a quesadilla.
Twice this past
Oh my gosh.
So
Why they run?
yesterday, I went straight espresso and cinnamon roll from the coffee shop and nothing else and ran 10 miles. And you have no idea how high I can fly. I was soaring on wings of gossamer. And I told CG that, and she was just like, I would literally have to be hospitalized.
No joke.
She's like, you just telling me that makes me uncomfortable.
My blood sugar just jumped.
And then when was your first half marathon? I feel like that's a big step.
Yes, that was okay. I think we actually started with marathons. Luke and I did. We ran Looney's, the one Lynn Burnett put on that started at midnight.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
We ran that.
Shout out Lynn Burnett.
Times. Yeah, shout out Lynn Burnett. He's a cool dude. Ran that a couple of times. That was my first ever marathon. I think it was like over 4 hours. Of course, it was at midnight, and it was the same loop.
Same loop, like a 2 mile or 3 mile loop.
Terrible.
in August too, right?
Yeah.
August, right? It's hot.
And just it's
awful.
Just not my favorite. That was a terrible one to start with.
Sure.
But anyway, yeah. So I'm trying to think. Maybe the Haunted Half may have been our first half marathon. We ran it together, I think. So, yeah, probably that one. A long time ago.
Is Luke still running? Is he still
Not
running?
as much. So he is full-time farmer, beef cattle farmer.
Wow.
He's very busy with that. And
Sure.
also he is very busy being a dad. The boys idolize him, and their daughter does too. So they just, he's pretty busy. He's kind of gotten out of the habit, but.
What ages? What's the age range?
8, 7, 5, and 2.
I think that it's so incredible when I hear people that have families like this and can juggle that, and then also can be a very talented runner, very skilled runner. And I think you said it. I think Luke, you got to give a shout out to Luke, because like he probably I can't even imagine how tired you must be coming home from being a beef farmer, and then to now take care of the kids so you can go for a run.
Oh, yeah.
And I always give CG, she allows me to run because she takes care of a lot of things that I don't have to worry about.
For sure.
And it allows me the free time to go do that. Dusty, is that, I'm sure in order to have, you're busy. In order to run at all, your wife has to
she's got to be there to pitch in to do it, or else you're going, when everybody's trying to sleep, you're either at midnight or you're at early in the morning. Sometimes that just doesn't add up if you're especially busy and strung in all different directions too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you shared a very personal thing with us, and so did running help during that time? Is it something that one thing we talk about here is mental, physical, and spiritual health. And so for me in recovery, I know Dusty with mental health, we've talked about how important running has been to us. Is that something that you have also found with running?
Oh, for sure. I think it's been my outlet. Sports used to be, and then as I got older, running has just become, it's an outlet for me. When I was pregnant with Gabe, I ran quite a bit, and I've ran with all my pregnancies, and I felt better.
Yeah.
I do my most clear thinking when I'm running.
Yes.
I'll come home and have like a million really great ideas, and then life. And so I was like, well, that actually isn't going to work out.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great idea while you're running. But yeah,
Yes.
I talk to the Lord. I hear from Him. It's quiet. Or I'll listen to some podcasts that are uplifting. And so, yeah, running is definitely like my outlet and helps me mentally.
Yes. Listen, this week has been challenging. We're trying to get a coffee shop in the hospital, get it open and running. And there have been so many times I have felt so overwhelmed. And then the other day I was like, I'm going for a run. And it seems so irrational to have all these things to do. But if I don't go for a run, and then I went for a run, and then I had these thoughts. I'm like, they're not going to eat me. They're not going to put me in jail. This is going to be okay. And we're going to take this one step at a time. And I have been on runs, Dusty. I know you have, Allison. I know you have. And you just I have bawled. I have had been overcome with joy or just working through whatever. And I can only imagine going through what you and your family went through, running. Having that is such an advantage over someone that doesn't have that outlet, and it keeps you sane.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you're able to feel better about that. We have had Angie was on here, and we talked about women in running and women's safety, and I think that is such an important topic. How do you feel safe when you run around here? Where do you run, and what are some tips that you would give female runners?
Okay, so I do feel safe when I run. I run close to where we live, which is out in the country. And it's typically, like I said, if I do run by myself, it's late in the afternoon. So I'm not really worried about people at that point. I can see everybody. If I run early in the morning, which I said is not the norm, but if I do, I try to run with a group. I don't usually run in the morning or early in the morning when it's dark by myself. I do have pepper spray. I've never actually carried it. But there have been maybe one or two times when I've run alone when it was dark that I felt unsafe. I had somebody holler at me one time, a male from his car, when I was running in front of him, and I picked up my pace had never been better.
PR City, right?
Yeah, PR City. Let's go.
But yeah, I made a quick U-turn and ran back to the vehicle and just decided I'd finish it off later. But so, yeah.
I need someone to explain to me. I want to be in that headspace that is the cat callers.
It's never worked.
Has it? But it has had to have worked at some point in time.
I'm not sure how.
New York construction worker that was like, I would talk to this broad right now, but do this. It's gonna work. And she's like, marry me.
Marry me.
And then everyone saw it. And if enough people saw it, it's like an urban legend. And then all guys that are scumbags.
I can't get in that headspace where I'm just like, I'm just going to scream at a strange woman and think that love is going to happen. Love is going to spring eternal. I don't get it. I get catcalled by, toothless cig smokers. And I'm not trying to talk trash about toothless cig smokers, but that's who cat calls me. So that's exciting.
The Runner Dude Coaching and Consulting. With over 10 years of experience, Michael England is the running coach you've been looking for. He's not only passionate about you and your running journey, but also about you as a person. For Michael, running has not only helped him get into the best shape of his life, but has been a vital tool in maintaining sobriety, mental health, and spiritual health. You can experience this as well, and the Runner Dude can help. Follow Michael on Instagram at the Runner Dude Cookeville and send him a DM that you're ready to become a runner.
Back to a serious subject, women's safety and running. What would you encourage any young runner to do? Just make sure, go.
I mean, personally, I don't like to run alone, especially if I was a young female. So I think running in groups is huge.
Yes.
I think running, unfortunately, daytime hours, if you are going to run alone, I don't know that the time of day necessarily matters, but if I was a young, smarter runner, carry some pepper spray.
Yes.
And run in safe, populated areas. Don't go running. I mean, it's not the runner's fault, but don't go running in an area that's kind of secluded and
sketch.
Yeah, sketchy.
So it is so difficult. I had a very long conversation with Caitlin the other day, and in a vacuum, in a perfect world, you should be able to run anytime, anywhere, dressed how you feel most comfortable. And it should not make any difference. I want to advocate, or I want to say that, yes, I agree with all of those statements. But unfortunately, we live in a flawed world, and we live around flawed people. We all are, I am. But I mean, we live around very like you said, some dude's catcalling you and making you feel uncomfortable and following you. So that's the reality. And I do think that it doesn't necessarily, I'm not here to blame certainly anyone that's had anything happen to them while on a run. Angie said she got slapped on the leg.
Yeah,
Can you imagine?
Yeah, that right there.
It should have been arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
Assault,
you know,
100%.
and so while that shouldn't happen, it does. And I think there is a responsibility that you take on. There's just places that forget running. Me and CG went to New York City. We had a wonderful experience, and I love New York, okay? But there are places and times that I'm not just going to go traipsing through New York. You know, I just think there's a responsibility as a clear thinking adult that you know what to do, you know what not to do. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I agree. I think you just have to be realistic, and you have to know the world we're living in, like you said, and just be prepared for whatever could happen. Just don't be naive. Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not blaming anybody or saying that it's a female's fault if something happens, because it's 100% not. But you just be on guard and be prepared, and
Yes.
yeah.
And we've not yet had the opportunity to talk about this, and I know we would, but women are not the only one that have to take these considerations. Like our friends of color,
100%.
there's certain neighborhoods and places, and you know, there's a caring mom and dad talking to their young son, saying, "Hey, honey, when you're out running."
Yeah.
When this is going on, this is how you behave, and this is where you don't go.
Yeah.
And it's just that, sadly, is the world we live in. But women are not the only ones that
Yes.
have to consider these things. And so I don't know what the solution is, other than trying to teach our children and to model that behavior of trying to consider everyone that's running and everyone doing their thing and respect them and give them their distance.
Yeah, that's very true. You describe it as running while female. You know, there are certain, almost I think, responsibilities as a female runner to ensure your safety that you've got to take into consideration. I had my friend George from Ghana, and he was an exchange student at Tennessee Tech, and you know, you talk about running while black, and especially in his community. And I think overwhelmingly the people in our community are wonderful people, and so it's such a small percentage. It seems like the squeaky wheel always gets the grease, and that's who you hear from the most. But you got to be smart, and so running has been such a vital part of my recovery and my life that I want everyone to share it and have a positive experience with it. Any plans? We got any races? Anything we're training for? Anything coming up on the horizon?
Well, so my son Louie has gotten real into running. So I'm hoping to run a 5K. We were talking about 5Ks with him, or get him involved in some races, because he just gets that runner's high. You can tell when he runs. He really enjoys it. So maybe do something like that with him. Eventually, I ran Boston in 2015, so I would like to go back there, but I'm not running any 3-hour runs right now, so that's not a realistic goal. But maybe once our kids are a little bit older, I would love to go and take them and have them get to see that. So
cool.
Definitely half marathons. I always keep those on my radar, because I try to do a long run every other weekend or so, just to keep
Stay fit.
Yeah, just stay in shape. And if I find one that I want to sign up for, that's usually how it happens. It's a game time decision. Sign up a few days before and just go with it. So yeah, that's kind of.
I don't think it's not typical that you just casually stay fit and then show up and win. I think that, like, you're a very good runner. And I remember you told me at the Haunted this year, you were like, I wasn't even going to run this year.
Ghost trainer. I see her burning up and down all the time.
She's slow rolling us here.
Slow
It
rolling.
was your podcast that made me want to sign up, because you said something about, you can run it and just sign up and do it. And so I was like, well, let's just
sign up and do it.
I do run. I mean, I run quite a bit during the week, but I don't necessarily do any plans. I just get out there and run. If I say I'm going to do 5, I'll do 5. If I say I'll do 3, I'll do 3. But I do try to do a long run on the weekends just to keep my mileage up.
It is cool, though. You're talking about your son is getting into running. Isn't it cool to see somebody start to get excited about running?
Oh, it's the best. So Luke had him run, because he is our needs to be doing something child. He's the best. I
can't imagine what that must have been.
But he's just better if he's doing things. So Luke had him last summer while we were on vacation. He said, I want you to try to run a mile and let's just see how you do. Well, he ran it and just, fine, totally fine. So we got back and we ran a few mornings, and eventually he ran 3 miles.
Wow. At what age?
He was 6, I guess then. Yeah, I
Wow.
guess he's 7 now. But he'll do he was doing like a 10:30, 11-minute pace, which is
Yeah, that's
fantastic
hauling
for
the
them little
mail.
legs.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's been fun watching him get excited about it. None of our others are real interested yet, but we've got one. So, and it's just something fun we can do together.
Yes.
Which is cool.
And it's not for everybody.
Right.
You know, I tell people, you know, my wife, CG, God love her, she tried. She wanted to share that with me, but it just was, she didn't like it. And she rides her Peloton, she has other outlets, she does other things. And so I get that, but it is very cool when you see somebody start to get it and start to see it. And you know that there's going to be that this might be something that they do, because running is something I think you can do throughout your life. And it's very cool. Like Levi Detweiler. It's so cool to see somebody who understands how hard it is, but embraces it. Mm-hmm. And he's getting good. So who knows? You know, he may be. You said, what is his name?
Louis.
Mm-hmm. He may be the next. He may be the next Levi.
Yeah.
He may.
And so that would be very cool. Big ideas deserve powerful storytelling, and that's where Sight and Sound Creative comes in. From sleek video content to polished audio production, they craft modern, professional media that captures attention and builds connection. Whether you're launching a brand or leveling up your marketing, their work helps you inspire, educate, and engage audiences like never before. Bring your vision to life with Sight and Sound Creative. www.sightandsoundcreative.com. If you could go back, we're getting close here. If you could go back and do anything different, if you could go with your running career, what mistakes have you made? What would you tell a runner to avoid if at all possible?
I guess I used to go, hard, straight out of the chute, no matter what race I was doing. My adrenaline gets pumping, and I just lose all sense of reason. And I would just take off and, lose wind about half a mile into the whatever race I was doing.
Yes.
So eventually I learned, slow it down in the beginning, save it for the end. And since I've really been disciplined about that and implemented that, I can finish even stronger than I start, because I don't just ghost myself from the get-go,
Yes, that is you just said it. When you finally get to the stage where you get that the best race is the start slow, finish fast. Mm-hmm. And that takes discipline, it takes experience, because you always, you've seen the 5K.
Well, yeah, it's hard too. When you first get introduced to running too, and you really like it and you get that bug, it's hard not to want to just keep doing it and doing it more, doing it. And then eventually what happens is then something might happen to set you back. Yeah. And who knows? A lot of people you really like, you see that do, and they kind of get burnt and they start back up again. But yeah, talking about the 5K where you're always taking off like that gun, just like Jerry did on Seinfeld there with the backfire.
Yes, yes. My favorite is the 10 to 12, like the 7 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
That go dead sprint for 100 yards. And I'm like, guys, we still got 3 miles to go.
Stop and walk after 100 yards.
That's what Merrick always had done when he started running early with me when he was young like that. He would want to start out
crazy,
just trying to push it like 6:40.
Nope.
It was like, man, this is where you're gonna die.
You can't hold that.
No. You can't hold that.
No.
Yeah.
And when we get to that first mile, it's like, when do we take a break? We got a ways to go.
We got a way. We haven't even got started yet, bro. But yeah, 5K. It's the worst. Anything else you want to add?
No, I appreciate y'all having me. And now I do want to say, I talked about how I first knew Dusty. I remember I think it was the first 1.5 you ran, or maybe it was the first one I knew of you running, and you showed up with a backwards hat on, ready to run, and I was like, who is this guy wearing a hat? I don't have to worry about him. He ain't going to be. And you took off, and you won that thing, and I was like, wait, what? I had no idea who you were. And then, of course, I knew CG, and
I've got that picture.
Yeah, but it was impressive. I was like, whoa, he did all that in a backwards hat, too.
I had a backwards. I think I was still wearing beefy tees at that time. I think that was talking about what your gear slowly gets better. Mm-hmm. It is fun. You know, it's funny you say that because I'll show up to races and you can. The more you run, you're just like, yeah, right. I'm not worried about you. I ain't worried about you. Because you can tell what they've got on and you can pick out the 2 or 3 people that you're like, okay, this guy's serious or this girl's serious. And that's funny to hear that you're just like.
Was there not a guy that showed up at Boston this time?
Blue jeans.
Blue jeans.
Run a 2:34.
Skinny
No.
jeans and alpha flies.
Yeah. No shirt, blue jeans. He set the world record for the fastest.
Backwards run hat.
Yeah, backwards hat, blue jeans.
That hurts
Blue
me.
jeans.
Yeah, oh my God. Well, he had to have on like some tights.
It was
Had to.
I'm sure it was the stretch kind blue jeans.
They
Yes.
had to be jeggings.
Yeah.
Had to have some Aero Swift tights underneath there.
He wasn't wearing no Rough Riders.
Absolutely not. Yes. Express Footwear. Give it up for Express Footwear.
Absolutely.
Runner
Willow
dudes.
Window,
Year
thank you
round.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, Willow Window. Jimmy, anything else you want to add?
I'm just happy to be here.
Jimmy's always happy to be here. Allison,
He's got to be here to help keep this going.
yes. Thank you so much for being here. Are we going to go for you defending your title this year? Let's go.
Attempt it, yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
I think you got this. Who else? Who might be? Who's?
I mean, there's some strong female runners. The girl that
One last year.
beat me a year or 2 ago was from, I think, Sevierville. I track people and keep up.
Yeah, oh yeah, of
Is
course.
there not another younger girl that's like a local girl that was really kind of fast the last couple of 2 years,
Oh,
maybe?
probably.
Yes, I can't think of
Was
her
the top
name.
three,
Yeah.
Dark-headed, little kind of a shorter girl.
Yes, I can't
I
think
need
of
to
her
start
name.
training now.
Yeah, and I like to stalk people on Strava. And if Christian, if you're listening, the date is September 20. I'm just kidding. Just trying to tell.
Last thing, sorry, I just need to say this if you're talking about regrets from running. So when I was running the Viola Valley half, a guy caught up to me. I was first overall till like the last 2 miles. This guy caught me and he said, "How you feeling?" Well, me being honest, I was like crap, like I'm worn out. Never say that. Always say, "I'm feeling strong." What are you talking about? I feel great. I'm 2 miles in. Don't ever let them see you feeling weak or feeling defeated.
Yes. Never let them see you sweat.
Yeah, no. So that was terrible. I wish if I could go back, I'd be like, "I'm feeling great. How you feeling?"
Louis
Feeling like I'm about to win this race.
Yes. Louis DiLorenzo, my first coach, he said, Michael, if you're in a race and you're at a point and you're neck and neck with somebody, he said, at that point it becomes who can suffer this the longest. He said, because if they could run faster, they would.
Yes. Yeah.
And they are in just as much pain as you're in. And so, like you just said, when they hear that you're struggling, that gives them a music to their ears. And so I remember when Christian pulled away from me at the haunted half, I've never felt slower or more tired than watching him kind of gap me right there. And it was just like, okay, well, this is over. I'm just going to walk this in. So very good piece of advice. Keep your mouth shut.
Exactly.
How terrible this is none of their business.
1000%.
That's it. That's a very good piece of advice. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank y'all for listening. Thank you for being here, Allison. And thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
The Runner Dudes podcast is sponsored by Express Footwear and Runner Dude Coaching and Consulting. Produced by Jimmy Thorpe at sightandsoundcreative.com.